Therefore, spread of gangrenous area is slow and a line of demarcation forms which leads to falling off of the dead tissue. Okay, while moist gangrene occurs in the visceral organs where there is high temperature and ample moisture. This leads to sudden development of gangrene and spread of poison all over the body and shock leading to death. There is another third type of gangrene called as gas gangrene. And this type of gangrene is this type of gangrene is more of infectious in nature. Hmm? It is infectious. It is an infection actually. Hmm? If we see that now coming to gas gangrene proper, we understand this. The same gangrenous condition is occurring, but it is associated mostly with a infection of bacteria like Clostridia. Hmm? This Clostridia, like in what we see in dry gangrene and moist gangrene, generally is that first the necrosis occurs and then there is invasion and then there is spread of necrosis. And in most cases, in dry gangrene and also in moist gangrene, the necrotic area is very large. There is a large necrotic area, and such large necrotic area that it is unmanageable by the body inflammation and immunity. If we see dry gangrene and moist gangrene, we see that there is large necrotic area and it is so large that it is unmanageable by the body immunity and inflammation. However, in gas gangrene, the necrotic area can be very small, and in some cases, not even any necrosis, only little immunosuppression also can precipitate this. Okay. Now, gas like Clostridia, if you have heard an infectious disease called as black quarter, black quarter is gas gangrene, and it is a Clostridial infectious disease. Enterotoxemia, again, enterotoxemia, we see gangrenous changes in the intestines. In chicken, we will discuss another disease called as gangrenous dermatitis, which I should say it is more of a moist gangrene, but it is also involving the Clostridial bacteria. So Clostridia is a bacteria which can be associated with all types of gangrene, and it can itself precipitate gangrene. Okay, let us see further. This bacteria, Clostridia, can cause necrosis, grow on the necrotic area as saprophyte, produce toxins which spread the necrosis, and then it again grows on that, and that's how it spreads. Okay, understand this. This bacteria, if it can colonize, it will cause necrosis. It will grow on that necrosis as a saprophyte. Then this growing colony will produce more poisons, more toxins, which will spread the necrosis. And that's how the growth will also spread and the gangrene spreads. Many times this area, the gangrene, the large animal, first animals, this gas gangrene is generally seen in the large muscles of the animals, especially like cattle and buffalo, and even in large wild animals. Okay. Now, many times this is precipitated by injury. Okay. Many times this is precipitated by injury, like fighting, biting, falling down, or hitting by someone. And because of this, the necrosis, small area of necrosis develops, and Clostridia can proliferate on that and spread. Going to the basic concept of the gas gangrene, the basic concept is that the clostridial spores are omnipresent. Clostridial spores are everywhere in the nature. It's a saprophyte and its spores are found everywhere in the nature. And this leads to what? This leads to ingestion of these spores by herbivores. They eat it, it enters their intestine, and through the intestine, at some point where there is breakage or compromise, these spores enter the blood circulation and then remain lodged in the musculature and other body parts. Okay, they remain lodged in that. They reach the muscles through the food ingested, which from intestine it reaches the, if there is some breakage or something, it reaches the blood circulation. Through that, it reaches the musculature and remains lodged there. Even other parts of body. Now it is waiting for its chance. Now here, when in the muscle there is some kind of necrosis, either because of immunosuppression or because of trauma or because of injury or because of anything, the Clostridia starts growing. And as I told you, it makes the necrosis. On that necrotic area, it grows and then keeps on spreading. Some common examples are like Clostridium showi with black water, Clostridium septicum, malignant edema, Clostridium novi, Novyi, Black's disease. These are the common examples of Clostridium gangrene, especially gas gangrene. The grossly, this area, the affected area, grossly, macroscopically, the affected area will be initially very hot, hyperemic, and will have mild crepitating sound on pressing. Mild crepitating sound on pressing. Later, the area turns black, bluish black, or I should say bluish black, cold, and extreme crepitation is felt on pressing, and significant crepitation is felt on pressing. Okay. On cutting the area, extensive serosanguinous fluid oozes out. Extensive serosanguinous fluid oozes out with lot of gas bubbles, with it. Going back to the pathogenesis, the growth of Clostridia is accompanied with formation of gases. Clostridia produces lot of gases by fermentation of the, by putrefaction the of the proteins, and also fermentation of ingested carbohydrate which are in the muscles as form of, say, glycogen. So consequently, what happens is that there is lot of gas produced in this clostridial type of gangrene. Okay, and therefore it is named as gas gangrene. So what we see is area is initially red and hot, which later turns cold, bluish black, and on cutting, the area appears black with lot of serosanguinous fluid. Sero means watery, sanguinous means black tinged, or I should say, in case of gas gangrene, it is dirty serosanguinous. It is little bit blackish serosanguinous. Okay, dirty serosanguinous fluid oozes out with lots of gas bubbles in it. I have a video. This gas gangrene happened in one capital here in our college, and we made a video of it. And that video can be very informative to you all. Okay. Anyways, lot of gas bubbles appear in that, and the musculature, affected musculature, appears blackish in color. One point I want to bring to all of your notice is that whenever you are cooking meat or visiting a slaughterhouse, try to notice the normal texture color of the animal's body or the cut animals, slaughtered animals' body. This will make you have a practice what is normal and later on what is abnormal. Okay. There is strong offensive foul odor, putrid odor from the cut area. There is strong offensive putrid odor from the cut area, especially H2S kind of smell, hydrogen sulfide kind of smell. rotten egg smell, na? We say that. Microscopically, the muscles are ruptured, necrotic, and there is separation of sarcolemma. Muscles are ruptured, necrotic, and sarcolemma is separated. The tissue is edematous with lot of gas bubbles. The tissue is edematous with lot of gas bubbles. There is minimum inflammatory reaction, and numerous bacteria are seen which can be proven gram-positive. Numerous bacteria are seen which can be proven gram-positive, and they also contain spores. The sequelae is death due to toxemic shock. The sequelae is death due to toxemic shock. Sequelae of gas gangrene is death due to toxemic shock. Now I have covered up to gas gangrene here. Okay, some more are coming. See, only 22 students are attending today. Do you want to suspend the classes for a few days, or you want to continue the classes? Because covering the syllabus with only 1/3 attendance is not helpful. Already this is online class. If you want to have some holidays for Christmas and New Year, frankly tell me, I will suspend the classes without informing anything on the group.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
We
Okay.
want for this.
Okay. So this is between you and me, huh?
Thank you,
All
sir.
right.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
No need to propagate this here and there. So we will meet on the first week of January for classes.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Okay.
sir.
I'm concluding the class here.